I'd like to introduce our favourite MC who's done a marvellous job for 3 years this year. This is our 3rd year, Mr. Rick Island.
On your Welcome everybody! Very excited. Just out of curiosity, how many people have watched Prisoner, the whole 692 episodes, more than once? More than 5 times? More than 10 times? More than 20 times? Oh my God. More than 100 times. Yay, one up there. Okay. So Prisoner Cell Block H premiered in Australia on the 27th of February 1979. And it continued on, first starting with 16 episodes, continuing on to 20 and then indefinitely. The production schedule increased from 1 hour to 2 hours of TV a week and continued on for 692 episodes. Created by Reg Watson and produced by the Reg Grundy organisation, as we know, to this day, Prisoner is much loved and watched all around the world, either on DVD or YouTube or... Does anybody know if it's showing on any cable stations?
It's showing in Saudi Arabia right now.
Is it really? Hey, Tim.
It's on Foxtel. Really
And Foxtel?
Really late, like 2 a.m.
Oh, right.
That's when I
Okay.
started
Somebody's
watching.
Double
moved this.
episodes.
Yeah.
All right, well, without any further ado... Oh, one other thing. I was talking to Val Lehman recently, and I asked Val what her first day on the show was like, and she said that Peter Tapano and I were the first actors to start shooting on Monday morning, October the 30th, 1978. She said it was an outside broadcast for the original credits. B, as a regular housewife, hanging clothes on the line. She said, plus it was a really bad day for husbands because B shot hers and Karen stabbed hers to death in the shower. So not a good day for husbands. Alrighty, let's get started. Fiona Spence. This is a prison, not a holiday camp. The infamous mantra of our much beloved Vera Bennett. After being christened Vinegar Tits by Frankie Doyle, Vera then informs everyone that if the nickname was ever mentioned again, she'd fix the lot of them. A hard exterior, but perhaps with a much softer centre, Vera was often unlucky in love and the victim of a very abusive mother. But all good things come to those who wait. Vera attaining her dream of becoming governor of Barnhurst. The wonderful actress behind the character of Vera is a far cry from Prisoner's Miss Bennet. Born in England and eventually falling in love with the theatre in London's West End, marked the beginnings of an incredible theatrical and television career. Please welcome the lady behind the original and the best Vera Bennett, Fiona Spence. Welcome, Fiona. Okay, Amanda Mackleton. When Chrissy Latham stepped onto the white line, she brought a string of charges with her, including fraud, theft, and escaping from lawful custody. A would-be nymphomaniac, and with no male prisoners around, didn't stop her making sexual advances on male staff members. And when things didn't go her way, a pair of scissors were her weapon of choice, sealing the future fate of Chrissy's time behind bars and ending the life of Bill Jackson. Amanda Mackleton, on the other hand, has lived a very different life to Chrissy. Musical theatre has filled many hours of Amanda's professional life, as well as many other television and stage productions. So please hide your scissors as we welcome the delightful Amanda Mackleton. And Mouse, aka Heather Trapp. Her crime? Possession of drugs, prostitution and theft. Mouse was a very energetic character and often appearing out of nowhere. Rejected by her parents as a child, Mouse took solace in drugs, perhaps to break up the boredom of prison life, and often the first one in line if anyone had drugs. Mouse managed to break free during the tunnel escape and spent a short time on the run before being captured and returned to Wentworth. And sadly, Mouse's life came to a tragic end during the Great Fire. Yenta Sobbit started as a background character on Prisoner, before being brought out into the spotlight and becoming the very popular and much loved character of Mouse. So please welcome Yenta Sobbit. Bobby Mittal, stepping onto the white line in episode 405 with Minnie Donovan by her side. Bobby's charge of shoplifting introduced her to the beginning of a more than eventful life behind the bars at Wentworth Detention Centre. With her Walkman as her new best friend, along with her constant head-banging dance moves, Bobby was in for quite the ride. Framed and bashed, victimised, multiple escapes, kidnapped and forced to work on the streets of King's Cross, to name just a few of the many predicaments that Bobby found herself in. Please welcome Maxine Klibben-Gatus. Sit down now, Bobby. Okay, next we have Eve Wilder was inducted for the murder of her lover, Robin Sanderson, and all the while protesting her innocence and claiming that she thought that she was shooting a burglar. Yeah, manipulative, cruel, heartless and dishonest are just a few adjectives to describe Eve Wilder. Knocking our much-loved Joyce Barry unconscious with a door, dragging her to the cell and then clocking her over the head with an electric jug, to name just a few of the random acts of kindness that Eve was capable of. Linda Stoner, on the other hand, has absolutely nothing in common with the character of Eve, having appeared on numerous TV shows over the years, including The Paul Hogan Show, The Young Doctors, and her very memorable role in Cop Shop as the glamorous and very kind Constable Amanda King. Please welcome the delightful Linda Stoner. Last, but certainly not least, Lorelei Wilkinson was arrested for deception and impersonating a police officer. Awarding her a go straight to jail card. Not only did Lorelei have significant mental health issues, but she also was the victim of rape. A long-time friendship developed with the freak after meeting her in another prison prior to their time at Wentworth. A friendship that sadly did not stand the test of time. Paula Duncan was brilliant as Lorelei, as she was in all the roles that she's played over the years. Stopovers at number 96 Lindsay Street, Paddington, the Albert Memorial Hospital, Richmond Hill, Summer Bay, Riverside Police Station and Ramsay Street. Paula's main focus these days is helping to raise awareness for funds for people in our community that need it most. Currently the Ambassador for Nova Employment and Focus on Ability International Film Awards, and we'll hear more about that later. Please welcome Paula Duncan. Wow, here they all are. Let's give them a big round of applause. Amazing. First of all, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to all of you. This today is for you. And what I love most about Daryl Judge and Judge Enterprises is that he puts together these events so that the fans have time to spend with the actors. Okay, so you'll have plenty of time to do that today. Now, what I'm going to do is just open it up now to the actors to share a little bit about their time on the show and maybe to talk about what they're doing now. And maybe we'll start with you, Fiona, and we'll come... Well, sure. Paula, over to you, Paula Duncan. There's a microphone there, so if you wouldn't mind grabbing a mic, turning the mic on, and yeah, turn it on. What are you up to these days, Paula? What?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
So, Paula, firstly, what was it like for you working on Prisoner, and how did you come to get the role of Lorelei Wilkinson? Like, did you need to audition for that role, or?
Yes, I did, but it actually came about because I believe the producer, or one of our leading producers of Cop Shop, was actually producing Prisoner as well. and thought it would be a great opportunity for me to play something completely different. And that was absolutely true. There was absolutely nothing like Danny Francis at all.
So when you finished, you went to NIDA, yeah?
Yes, I did.
And straight after NIDA, you went into Number 96. Was that your first television role?
No, I did a couple of ABC things with Jackie Weaver and Polly Me Love and a few things like that. I also did Certain Women.
Right.
And then I did some theatre. I was an understudy for No Nanette, Nancy Hayes. In those days I could sing and dance. Don't ask me anything about that now. It's shocking. You'd pay me not to. But I did do musicals in the original state of my career. And then, yes, and then from there on, then I went into Certain Women and then, Young Doctors and Cop Shop and Prisoner.
So really, you acted for how many years non-stop, would you guess, that you worked constantly in the industry?
I guess other than the last 2 years, I guess I've done 16 series overall.
Wow, yeah. Fantastic. So you were able to buy yourself a house, hey?
Well, I've spent that. I'm married 3 times. It's been a fabulous career. I mean, I've met some wonderful people. And a lot who are on this table I've done several roles with, particularly with Linda, of course, and Amanda down there. We've been stuck together so many times on the camera, it's not funny. But we'd still like to be stuck at it again.
Yeah. And
so if they're not going to do it, we'll do it ourselves.
And what was the last role that you did on television?
Probably Hiding, the ABC series.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. And what are you up to now, Paula? I mean, I know what you're up to, but a lot of people here today probably don't. So you're the ambassador for Nova Employment.
Correct.
And which also encompasses the Focus on Ability Film Awards, which are absolutely incredible. And did the Focus on Ability Film Awards all begin from just one film about bullying? Does it go right?
Yes, well, it was initiated by our CEO, Martin Wren, out in the western suburbs. And the teachers were worried out there because people with disabilities, like mental illness or various, anyone that was peculiar to somebody, was bullied. And he came up with an idea to try and collaborate the kids, to bring them together. And then their short film, which they could write and they could produce themselves, would lead them to the character that they had to talk about. And the character they had to talk about was the very one that they were bullying. So what happened is that they found that they got acquainted with the person with a disability and then started to appreciate and understand the depth of the person with disabilities. And even when they couldn't communicate, they found other ways of communicating. So it absolutely took by storm. I started working with the Special Olympics in 1989, part of the movement in bringing them out here. And a lot of this lot here were all part of that time when I was doing that. And then, of course, that was to create community awareness and to actually bring people with disabilities back into the community and back alongside families, get them in the sunshine out of institutions. And from there we've moved into a totally different area now because it's so exciting because of Nova Employment, where we're actually finding young people a job. So we also, and people that have been made redundant and have had other situations in their life. But the great thing is that we've been able to identify their skills, mentor them, give them confidence, help the parents have a break, give them some respite care. So many people now, lives have changed. And I'm just lucky to work with one of the most amazing organisations because we've got, believe it or not, Nova Employment has the biggest recruitment agency in New South Wales. And that includes people that don't have disabilities.
Yeah.
So we find so many jobs, it's amazing. And a lot of our wonderful staff, I can see my beautiful friends here that work diligently.
Yes, welcome to some people here today from Nova Employment. You're very welcome. And I believe there's a raffle happening a little later.
Yes, there is.
Which will be fantastic. And the details, do you want to share those with us now?
I do. They're actually in that white bag. Paper bag, which is in one of those things out the back, that I'll give you. What I'll do is I'll actually get them distributed on your table. But this all happened, to try and help us raise money for Linda's cause as well. And what we did is overnight, over a couple of days, we managed to get a beautiful suite in Melbourne overnight with everything accompanied. We've got a picnic basket going. We've got a case of wine. We've got a case of... yeah.
Spray and
We've
wipe
got some
for those who
beautiful-
didn't see it.
We've got some beautiful china cups sat there. We've got about 10 lovely prizes going off, and there's probably about $1,500 worth of prizes. So hopefully, out of all of you, someone's going to win something lovely. But please help us too. The festival does need money. I might just tell you that, which is important for the cause. Then I'll move on. The festival is non-for-profit. Nova Employment is a charity, a registered charity, and we've just been registered in the United States. We're leading on inclusion and diversity in the United States now, and because of the festival. And the festival has reached, as of yesterday, 498,000 people online from across the globe.
Wow.
Yes, and about 165 countries.
Wow.
So it's educating, it's building bridges, it's telling stories, it's helping people, and it's getting people with disabilities the opportunity to tell their stories.
Right.
And all our money is raised, and that's part of my job. So I'm out there harassing people like yourselves and getting everybody to give their hearts and their souls to our festival. But it is amazing, and our big red carpet's on the 6th of September this year.
And we're going to show a couple of short films later on
cool.
from the Focus on Ability
Oh, yeah.
Film Awards. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But just one last question. Why did you move into this field of helping to raise awareness for not only people living with disabilities, but to all the charity work that you've done over the years? What actually brought you into that area? Was it? Did you have a friend? What happened? Like, were you offered
I think it actually started, those that knew my parents, it started with my parents. My parents were the most generous, beautiful people you would ever meet in your life, and I'm not saying it because they were my fathers. Absolutely true. They welcomed everybody into their home. My father said never be rude to a drunk because in the morning they would be sober. If anyone got drunk, he'd take them home or put them in a taxi. We were brought up to care for other people, and that was their philosophy. And they were publicans, and because they were publicans, everyone was welcome. And so I think that was it. I saw so many lonely people in the pub. I honestly believe, though, in the long run now, I think as I've got older, I think a lot of it working with the Centre for Volunteering and promoting volunteering and working with the Royal Hospital for Women and homeless people and all of those things like that. I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that I've suffered with episodic depression. And so the interesting thing is that I find a lot of gratification in giving. So it's not just all selfless. It makes me feel better about me too.
Well, our world is a better place for people like you. So thank you very much. Yeah. Linda Stoner. Welcome, Linda. Beautiful Linda Stoner. So while we're on charities and helping other people, you do a lot of work. Well, in fact, you're the CEO of Animal Liberation in Australia. And I'm interested to know what brought you into that field too, Linda. Yeah.
It was over 4 decades now when I just started with Cop Shop. And I was at my mum and dad's in Adelaide and I saw steel pups being skinned alive. And while you see things on the news and you feel the next day you sort of get on with your life, but I couldn't let go of this. It just haunted me, and so I did research into what was happening with dolphins and whales and seals, and I found that there were alternatives for everything that they were being killed for. And then I was just looking for something. It was like, I don't know. I started working for the Wilderness Society as a volunteer. And then somebody said, there's a book that's just come out that you might like called Animal Liberation by Professor Peter Singer. And so from the Wilderness Society, I got in the back of the cab and I read 3 chapters, and that was it. It was my epiphany. And I stopped wearing leather. I stopped eating meat. My whole life changed. And Paula's ex-husband was a great help in that, because he would have shocking fights with me. We'd have toe-to-toe screaming arguments about the rights of animals. But what that did was make me investigate everything and really look into it and find answers to everything. I spent 4 years at the Lorna Hodgkinson Sunshine Home, which is where Paula, I think, you first started your role. Yeah, so that was a profoundly important part of my life as well. And that was when the institution was devolved and people were moving out into the wider community, which was fantastic. So my passion for the rights of animals is not to the exclusion of human beings, but it is almost my sole focus. We're being squeezed at the moment because the government, and there's all this propaganda about vegan terrorists, which is just so ridiculous. I look at me and my son and you, and I look at us and I go, terrorists, are you kidding? You know, it's just ridiculous that we're being pillarized for wanting to stop damage to the planet, wanting to stop harm to animals, and, you know, hopefully improve people's health, but we're called terrorists, and it's just big business and governments. They collude and they bandy these words around. But anyway, that's what I do.
On the interview that you and Paula did, yes, big round of applause. The interview that you and Paula did on the morning show not so long ago, Paula said, what Linda and I have in common is that both of us, in our own ways, are fighting for the rights of someone or something that can't speak for themselves. And a lot of people until now have not had the right to speak for themselves, and that pretty well sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what we both have is a happy background of working in fabulous shows with wonderful people. So that was light and fluffy and so much fun. And what it did for both of us was to give us a profile, which meant that we could lend our voices to those without a voice. So it's been, you know, just a blessing for both of us.
Yeah, well, we're very grateful to have you both here today. Yeah.
I just want to say something, though. What I've had to do has had challenges, there's no doubt. But what Linda has done in the face of adversity, she's risked her life and she's taken chances that I don't know anybody else in the world would ever do. She's one of the most remarkable people I've ever met.
Well, I've only just met Linda. Apart from years ago when I walked into the studios to do a cop shop scene and I met you that day, Linda, I've only just met you again for the second time, and you just appear to me to be one of the most beautiful people on the planet, and it's just the energy that you exude. It's just very humble and very beautiful.
You're going to make me cry.
No, I mean it. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, okay, well, Maxine. Thank you, Linda and Paula. How are you, Max?
How can I top it?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, how can I top that? Hi. And stuff.
Shut your face, you stupid bitch.
Bitch.
Now tell us about it.
What about it?
Tell us about it.
My book?
Yeah.
Oh, my fantasy.
Yeah, tell us about your book.
Oh, there's Daryl. Look, like you said, some
We've got copies for sale, I think, or you can put your name on a list to receive a copy of...
Yeah, you can buy my book.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Yeah. So, yeah, talk about your book. What's in your book?
Oh, me?
Yeah, apart from you.
And people shutting their faces because they're stupid bitches. And what else?
So really it's about all your time in TV land, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, like...
I just went all soft. It is.
What kind of shows? Prisoner? Neighbours?
Yeah. What about Hampton Court?
Hampton Court, which you call...
Hampton Shit.
Hampton Shit. And what else? Right.
Shitcom.
I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce Tim Spinoff, sitting over here behind the laptop. Welcome, Tim. Tim is actually an independent filmmaker and Maxine has worked on several films with Tim, including what? Baronia Boys?
Yep.
What else?
Prisoner Queen, where she plays.
Nothing,
Yeah,
really.
the-
Now you're just stretching. No, I've forgotten it. I've put that out of my mind.
Well, you tried to.
Come on, you can do it again.
I'm Cecilia.
Come on, Maxine, you can do it.
I am horny.
So Maxine,
And
what
we also
Yep.
worked on Moonlight Magic, which won an award in.
well, tell us about your muff, Maxine.
Oh, thank you very much.
No.
Melbourne.
Sorry, Muff Award.
What did you want to know about? Love?
I want to know about your Muff Award.
Melbourne Film Festival, also known as the Muff Awards. Yes, I did win something there. And also the same film won for in Atlanta, yeah, the underground film.
And Tim, if we want to get hold of any of your films, how do
I've got
we?
Prisoner Queen with me today.
You've got some sales for.
I don't have Roman Boys with me.
Okay.
But if you don't have the money to buy one, you can just listen to this. Call me now. I'm horny. You get it for free. You got your phones handy. Veronian Boys, Desiree Smith.
Yes.
Yeah. Who?
Elsie Valentine.
Oh,
Yay!
yes.
Yes.
I don't know
And
now.
Kylie Foster.
Yeah.
Kylie Foster.
Yes, plays Clown.
Oh, I forgot about that bit. I did, I forgot.
So Max, what was it like working on Prisoner?
It was really good fun. I mean, we just had a really great time. I went in as a complete novice. I knew nothing.
How did you hear about the role or the audition in the first
Right,
place?
so I didn't because I just was. I walked into the ABC, right, and I just said, "Hi, how are you?" And they said, "Yeah, we're good." And I said, "Do you need any actresses?" And they said, "Yeah, we do." And so then I just read, I don't know, a couple of pages. I was 17 and a half. So I did, really, Mum and Dad didn't know where I was. I just walked in somewhere and said, "Hi, how are you?" And they said, "Yeah, good, how are you?" And that was it. And I read some stuff and they said, "All right, that was good." And I said, "Oh, that was good fun." So I then went, then I went home and the phone rang at home and Mum said, "Somebody on the phone." "Yeah, I don't know who it is." My mother sounds dicey, I know. And so, unlike myself, apple hasn't fallen very far from the tree. So then I then said, "Who is it, Mum?" They said, "You've got a role on the ABC." Mum said, "What's that?" So I then, true. So Fiona Spence played my foster mother.
Oh wow! What was it called, Max?
Home?
Home. Okay.
Wasn't I can puzzles, Fiona? It was called Home. And you played my foster mother. And I was gorgeous. You were fabulous. So while I was doing that show, right, which only lasted for 5 weeks, so she's forgotten about. Someone said to me while I was doing it, you should go to Grundy's, aka Fremantle these days, right? Yeah. And I said, "Oh, all right, why will I?" And so they said that they're looking for an actress. I rang them and I said, "Hi, how are you?" They said, "Good, thanks."
Wow, that's interesting.
And I shut up! Don't judge me! And so then, and I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "Why don't you come in and find out?"
Okay, can you kind of speed it up a bit?
Speeding it. So anyway, I went for them, right? And I didn't know what it was even for. I did not even know that it was for Prisoner. I'd really not really watched Prisoner, and I did not know it. And I just read it, and so then they rang me when I got home off the train, and Mum said, "Oh God, there was a phone call for you." And so then they said, "Can you come in tomorrow?" And then they said, "You've got the role of Bobby Mitchell," and I said, "Good on me."
Yeah.
I didn't know. I really didn't know. I'd not really seen the show much. I really didn't. So then I said, "Okay." And they said, "You'll need to cut your hair." And I said, "Oh, no, look, I don't think so." So I did. I went home again on the train. And then they rang back and said, "Oh, you can work it out around your hair." And I said, "No. And my father, who's Lithuanian, said, "You know what? he doesn't really talk like that, but that's how I impersonate. He said, your hair will grow back. So there you go. I became Bobby, and that's it.
Thank you, Maxine. And welcome, Yenta.
Why, thank you very much, and welcome to each and every one of you.
Yenta, you started out as a background character on Prisoner. Now, there was a little bit of confusion because sometimes you were known initially as Pauline, or you were referred to as the character of Mrs. White or Miss White. That was way before Mouse evolved, was it? Ah, well, that's what I read. Maybe they're just making it up. You tell us. You were there, so yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. Maybe they usually the cast call list would be classified as extras.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of that. Maybe it happened once or twice, but I don't.
So what else? What the other thing I was reading is that Sheila Florance really noticed your work, even though you started out as a background character. She was really impressed by the way that you were working with your character.
Well,
Yeah.
having a very, very furtive imagination, I didn't know when I would be called to be.
Yeah.
So I started making up storylines myself, and I'd been studying commedia dell'arte, and I just loved those characters, and this was most not about commedia. And I loosely based the character on Harlequin,
Oh wow.
and you know the gap year, or you know when you defer from tertiary education. I was enrolled in arts law, so I had a great love, and once again I was blessed with wonderful parents, and we were always, they were very active politically and socially, and there was a lot of business going on within the jails in New South Wales. And that's where the wonderful Ian Bradley and Denise Morgan, they got those wonderful scripts. So also, like your parents, Paula, there used to be homes for wayward boys and girls, and my mother, we used to, you'd go to dances to normalise these people. So still time. So a great sense of social justice, and I was very blessed by Sheila talking, and also this one, Amanda.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we had met independently by the Charters, and yes, so that's how it was so organic, and I was so fortunate because I was working with the matriarchs of Australian theatre, and we went to the theatre and ballet and opera as children. And
Your parents were opera singers, is that right? No? Your mother was an opera singer? Wow.
Need I say more? Yes. So, and my father was an artist, and we had friends in Warrandyte, Elsa. So Ziggy Thornton's parents-in-law, they were up there, and David Baker, and as children, we had rap parties, and they're all off their heads. So we were brought up with that. Oh, and also what's his name? New Zealand actor.
Sam Neill?
No, Russell Crowe. His mum and dad used to do the catering for Tim's films and David Baker and all of that group. So it was part and parcel of the fabric of our growing up.
I just wanted to read a little something here from, supposedly from Sheila Florance. For a long time, Yenta was doing a non-speaking role, but I saw the quality and recommended her to our casting director. She is very confident and has a wonderful modesty that's essential. She is learning all she can. A lot of young people think they know everything before they start. Does that sound like Sheila? Because that was a quote that I And one of your quotes is that Sheila Florance has been my fairy godmother. She guided me and has given me confidence. Yeah?
Absolutely. And also, no Mars Hole. If she authentic.
Yeah.
That was her word, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Is that
Yeah,
better?
just closer to
I
your
beg
mouth.
pardon.
That's great.
Sorry. So it was, no. She called a, yeah, she called a spade a spade.
While we're talking to you, I'm just wondering, we might actually show a clip because earlier this year you did a scene on Neighbours.
I know, it's so wonderful to be out in the land of television. Or where you said elephants went to die.
Oh.
Manawadding.
No, I think the best quote was from cameraman Noel Penn.
Right.
He said, "You know what Manawadding means, don't you?" I said, "No." He said, "It's an Aboriginal word." And we said, "Yes, for what?" He said, "Land of television."
Land of television. So can you just fill us in on this scene, these two scenes that you did before we watch them? Set it up for us. Oh, let's have a look. Let's have a look at them.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
Erica King? You must be Sheila. Yeah. And this is my friend Susan. Would you mind if she joined us?
Of course not. Oh, this is Chrissy Reynolds, Fiona Bennett, and Meg Fletcher.
Hi. You're early.
Oh, we all just had lunch together.
I've seen that you're all wearing denim. Is that a club requirement? I'm sorry if it is, because I must have missed the memo.
Just a coincidence. Oh, mine's coming off. Too hot in here. I feel like I'm burning alive.
So who goes first?
You can.
I don't know where to begin. At the beginning, I suppose, just like a book, right? Well, Mother Knows Best has been a miracle for me in helping me to help my son. He's a good boy, but he has spent some time in prison.
Prison?
Yeah, well, people make mistakes, and that doesn't make them bad people.
No, just people that deserve to be locked up.
Fiona, what did you think of the book?
Well, I like chapter 6, actually.
He completely lost it outside her house. I mean, tears and everything.
Oh, I had a friend, Doreen, cried all the time. But she still slept with a teddy bear. Should we focus on the group?
I am. Leo's problem was bad mothering.
Well, it sounds more like bad fathering.
Oh, no. He got away with way too much when he was younger. His mother needed this book. In fact, all mothers should.
Oh, I don't know, Sheila. I've raised 3 kids and I've looked after plenty of others without a book.
Oh, and they're all scattered all over the globe, Susan. But it's never too late. Your nieces could use this book. They need a firmer hand.
Adults should be able to make their own decisions, not be micromanaged.
What do you think, Chrissy? You're quiet as a mouse over there.
Oh, it's my husband.
Erinsborough's musical medico.
Oh, he's got me these beautiful roses. Look.
Oh, he reminds me of my cousin. Fletch the Lech, we used to call him. He could use my steam press anytime.
Flowers? You're so lucky.
My husband used to give me roses.
I wish you could again.
What a lovely home you must have. I'm going to have to consider your take on the book.
So it was especially set up, wasn't it, to pay tribute to Prisoner for the...
Say so. Yes, definitely.
I thought it was really clever. Was it? Did you enjoy doing that?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
The car drove there all by itself and knew where to go. Yes.
Fantastic.
So it was lovely to see
Yeah.
Jay, Jenny, and Colette. And I'd met Jackie a couple of times, just only through Kirsty, who was also on the show. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was lovely. Now, may I just say something
Please,
very, very quickly?
please, yeah.
And that is Elspeth Ballantyne sends her very best to you all. And she wishes that she was here. However, she has family obligations. So she said she asked me to pass on her very best wishes.
And how is she, Yenta? How's Elspeth?
Oh, she's
Is
fantastic.
enjoying life? And
Well, she's so busy all the time.
right.
Yes.
Yep.
So we had lunch, a couple of weeks ago. Just walked up to Uplying on the street. Yes. So she's very busy with grandchildren.
And Amanda Mackleton, welcome. You've not long returned from England performing a character, Coral Brown, in This Effing Lady. Can you tell us about that?
I'm going to stand up.
Oh, I know.
I don't think you can see us properly up the back. Hello, up the back. I have just returned from England doing a fantastic show about an Australian actress called Coral Brown, who ends up marrying Vincent Price. Wow! She was the most amazing woman. She. I nearly said the F word because...
We don't mind, it's okay.
No, because the whole play, it's called Coral Brown, This Fucking Lady, but of course we couldn't put that on the poster, so it had to be This Effing Lady, because every other word she said was F, because she literally F'd her way to the top. She made love to, a lot of you are too young to remember these people, but Maurice Chevalier, Paul Robeson, who was beautifully black, and we're talking about the 1930s and 40s. So
Wow.
she, it was a very taboo thing to do then. Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Rex Harrison, you name it, she slept with it. Why do I always get these roles? It was a fabulous role. And I only did 8 shows in London, and it's been picked up. And it's being taken next year to the Edinburgh Festival, and then it's coming back into London.
Are we going to see it here?
I'm really hoping the producer is Australian, so he will eventually put me on here in Sydney, I know.
Fantastic.
I just think you're all amazing that after 40 years you still come to these things. I can't tell you how it makes me feel, and I know probably everyone at this table. We are so in awe of you. I know you probably are in awe of us, but we are in awe of you, that you are so loyal.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just wonderful. So what else do you want to
And the show wouldn't have stood the test of time, really. I mean, it's these people that kept the show alive and that still keep the show alive today.
Well, it must have been doing something right for them to create Wentworth from it.
Yeah.
So, and Wentworth, it's fantastic. It's got fantastic production values, which we didn't always have, because we didn't have the money back then, and they never thought it was going to work. Because it was all women, and at that point, women were not box office to television stations or to theatre. I mean, I first met Paula and Linda in Cop Shop. I went into Cop Shop. Do you remember
Gary Day.
Yes.
Gary Day.
And of course I was a bashed up wife, prostitute, what else? And at the time, although Cop Shop was a huge breakthrough, they were still glamorous women being cops. And that doesn't happen now, I mean, you had the full makeup, you had false eyelashes, lip gloss, you had your guns were in their handbags. I mean, it was crazy. But thank God that they did something like that, where they did have 2 incredibly strong women in amongst all those men, because up until Cop Shop, there was Matlock, there was Homicide, all men. Men. And then when Prisoner did break, they suddenly realised that people did want to see strong women on the screen, and boy, were there some strong women in that series. What else do you want to know?
Well, a little later I'd like to ask you all about your roles in Prisoner, but maybe after we hear from Fiona, we could come back. Thank you very much, Amanda. And welcome Fiona Spence. Vinegar Tits.
I wish I'd gone first. I did have my chance. Well, how did I get Vera Bennett? I was getting married, and the invitations were out, and my feet were terribly cold. So I left the country and went to my mother in London. And she said, better to find out before than later, like I did. And I said, oh yeah, okay. So I hid in London for about 6 or 8 weeks. And then I crept back into Sydney, and I thought, what am I going to do? I mean, this is a disaster. And the phone went, and it was Grundy's, and they said, could you come for an audition tomorrow? I said, I'd love to. I didn't know what it was, but anyway, it was Prisoner. and I had to be in Melbourne by the following Monday. And it wasn't so much the role, it was just leaving Sydney. But Vera Bennett was a wonderful character to play. But they didn't have breaks in those days. So 3.5 years of playing that character week in and week out, I got exhausted, so I left. But if it was today, when they have breaks and they treat the actors, with a greater courtesy or respect or something, I would have stayed longer. But it was, it just went on and on and on. She just, what's going on here? Clean up that mess. This is a prison, not a holiday camp. But I loved the show, and I made really lifelong friends being in the show. And also it was wonderful to be part of a success. And then Cell Block H went on in England. Oh, and I did the prisoner play around Great Britain, which very loosely called a play. It was a happening for the fans, really. And I did pantomimes, yes, Wicked Queens. What? Yeah. So I did those, and I had a great time over there. And now I sold my house 3 years ago in Lewisham, and I moved to Leura. So that's, I think anybody who moves to Leura is not particularly interested anymore in their career. I have a wonderful time up there, and so that's my life in a nutshell.
And what was it like transforming from Fiona into Vera? Like when you'd arrive at the studio and you'd put on your costume, was it like a transformation that you went through?
I think it was, yes, obviously it was, because I didn't come in being Vera.
Yeah.
I really quite...
And did that help you as an actor to just, as you put the costume on and they put the bun and everything? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. It was... we're not a pack of venom. No, it was a wonderful role to play, and it was... and we had so much fun. I mean, down in the tunnel, we were hooting and laughing. The tunnel was such fun, and then you'd go upstairs. Do you know, I was underneath the studio. It was this long, we had makeup and hair and wardrobe, and in the middle was the cast. The what? Alcohol. Well, I shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but that was Sheila, wasn't it? Was it the rest of us?
No, cardboard handbags.
The cardboard handbags were unbelievable.
She had hers in the green room anyway.
Oh, she had hers in the green room, yes, okay. The rest of us...
I was the youngest in the cast at that time, and I'd been overseas, and I had this large Gladstone bag, and so the producers weren't happy about this at one stage. So I was the drinking, and I had
I never drank down in the tunnel.
I had to get the cardboard can. I was the one that was carrying the contraband for the cast.
No, it was for Sheila, wasn't it?
Other people helped.
No, but I also used to make Annie Phelan a special mummy's coffee.
Anyway, that was my life in a nutshell. I love the show, and I'm thrilled to be here with today.
And we're thrilled to have you here. Thank you, Fiona.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Krishna. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Jazz is up now, you ready?
Why were you born?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Hooray! 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 Now who's going to cut the cake?
Are you getting the cake in all your shots?
There you go.
Where are the scissors?
There you go.
We're getting married.
I want to thank our beautiful technician. Where are you, gorgeous? There he is. Tim. Thank you very, very much for all your hard work. It's good because I need glasses to see anyway, so it didn't matter that I didn't see it. But what I am saying is to take this journey for us and for Linda and I and Amanda and all my friends here is really, really special. It makes me emotional, but they were the great times, guys. We were there and we lived them, and we're still living because of you. Thank you.
Linda, did you want to say anything before we close?
Oh, thank you for helping my charity.
Only to reiterate what Paula has said, you make us all feel very emotional and very humble, and hope to see you all again in either a coffee shop or something else. And I just want to thank Daryl and Rick for being, and all of the team for working so incredibly hard on this. And if I ever needed an MC, I would be. You're the man. Thanks so much. Bye. Thanks, Daryl.